Good afternoon, everybody. Look who I've got sitting in my studio with me today.
It's me.
It is Mr. Dustin from KetoSimple himself. How are you?
We're here to hang out.
That's right. We're having a good time. How's everybody doing today? You having a good day, Dustin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
All right. This is going to be a lot of fun. I think this is going to be hopefully some helpful and interesting information for you guys. And if you have questions about anything as we're going through all of this, please do not hesitate to ask. Obviously, over on Dustin's channel, we have his camera turned off right now just because he's sitting on this camera with me.
Yeah.
But we are going to hopefully have a good time here. Let's say hey to a few folks and just kind of see who's here before we dive right in. If you are here wondering what we are talking about, this is Keto Carnivore video editing solutions, because Dustin and I both use a program called Vinci Resolve to do our editing. And there's a lot of people in this space that maybe they don't even do this all the time, the extent that we do, but they do some editing from time to time, and they like to be able to put videos out, and maybe not even for YouTube. Maybe they just want to make videos at home or whatever. And as a community, a lot of smaller creators who don't have big editing teams and all this kind of stuff were suddenly left without a solution when the whole TikTok CapCut thing happened. And some people can still use it and some people can't. Maybe they deleted the app, whatever. And so Dustin and I just wanted to talk about what it is we use, that hopefully this is helpful for you guys, and give you just kind of a simple and short introduction into an easy way to learn to use something like DaVinci. What is so great about DaVinci is you can get the free version, which does like 90% of what the pro version does. And most of you, unless you are going to really dive deep into video editing and get really serious about video editing and color grading, you're probably never going to need the paid version of this. The free version will do everything you most likely are going to want for a long time, if not the rest of your life. And you get free updates for life. Whether you have the free or the paid version, they keep updating it, and it is on your computer. You don't have to worry about the App Store shutting it down on you. And they're just a great company. So do you have any additional things to add to that?
I think one thing about it is it's a fully functional, like you said, it's fully functional. It has been around a long time. This is something that you as a beginner creator can utilize. It's also something that they use in major movie studios, television, big productions. So it is something, if you decide to get serious, that will grow with you. And you can learn more. And in our descriptions, there are some other channels that have been listed out that we learn from and that have been integral in us obtaining this information. And I think one thing is also, if you ever get to the point where you decide you want to purchase the studio version or the paid version, it's a one-time fee and not a subscription.
Yep.
No ads, no watermarks, even in the free version. I think it's a fantastic thing to learn if you are at all interested in learning to do video editing and making content and sharing your life with the world.
Yep.
And your experiences. And I think that's really what we're here, just to help give you the tools to share your journey right along with us.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, we've talked about this a lot in like Keto Crusade. We've talked about this in both of our respective channels. Like, you guys sharing your story is so inspirational for people. And whether you do that on YouTube like we do, or you're a Facebook creator, an Instagram creator, TikTok, if they bring that back permanently, whatever goes on there, there's all kinds of other social medias you might be involved in. Even if you want to just make videos and have them at home, and you can share them with your friends and share them with your kids and, different things like that. We live in a digital world where we document what's going on with our journey in this way. And this is such a cool thing to be able to do. And it looks very overwhelming if you open this program.
It does, yes.
And you have no idea what it is. Like, the first time I opened DaVinci, I was like, what even is all this? I have no idea what this is. But once I got a little bit deeper down into it, and I really understood what was going on, I started to recognize, oh, this is actually very straightforward and easy. And a lot of you guys are coming from using CapCut because it was such an easy to use, just, touch it and move it on the screen with your finger kind of thing on your cell phone. And I totally get it. I used CapCut for a long time before I started using DaVinci. I know Dustin said he has not used CapCut, but I come from using CapCut, and I initially was doing only CapCut on my phone, and I was exporting my videos and putting them up here for you guys to see. So those first videos on my channel, that's what I was doing. Then I moved on to doing most of my work in CapCut, but then I would drop it into DaVinci just to do some color correction and try to make it look a little bit better. And then I moved over into starting to edit in DaVinci, and I had a whole learning curve of trying to figure out how to come from something like CapCut into DaVinci, and I didn't have someone doing what we're doing right now to show me, here's the basics, here's where everything is. So I had to go do all this research of watching a bunch of videos on my own, and that's what we're going to try to do, is just make that easier for you guys. So let's just say hey to a few folks, see who's here, and then we'll get jumping into some DaVinci and see what's going on. We got Lewis Stone says, kind of sad I'll be missing the live. That work thing is calling. It happens to all of us, man. But I will for sure be watching the replay when I get home. Have a great one. You too, Lewis. We appreciate you, brother. Nancy Griffith is watching. I'm going to try to be here. Work stuff going on. We'll catch replay of stuff I missed. Have a great chat, everyone. Absolutely. Catherine Smalley is here. I'm a remote call center agent, so calls are always interrupting. Always love listening. Well, you do what you got to do with those calls, but we are here for when you are available to say hey. Caleb's Carnivore Quest is here. A brilliant young man here in the carnivore space, and kind of brand new to doing this, but he's starting his YouTube channel up, and maybe we can give him some tips today too. We've got Easy Peasy Keto is here. Stacy and Ken waiting for these boys. Hello. Of course, Lynn, the OG 22QCat is here. Logged in on both of you, Chris and Dustin. Know nothing about any of this. We'll listen in the background. Just want to support. We appreciate you, Lynn. Thank you so much. Rick Charger Mopar is here. Looking forward to this. And we've got Brian is here. Chris, the thumbnail looks like you're trying to look like Dustin, pulling your hair out.
Mine just fell out.
I have it all up here. Dustin's got it all down here. So, we're kind of the yin and yang in that way. Karen is here. Says hello, everyone. Hello, Karen. And we have a brilliant, blessed news and more. Good afternoon. Well, we're glad to see you. John Wise is here live again, and I'm not late. That's awesome. We're glad you're here, John. Steven Stone is here. What's up? Steven Stone, Lewis Stone, and probably a few other people here are actually part of the private group that I have linked in the description box. Dustin is over there with us, and we were actually talking about some new things we can add in there that we can go over there and help you guys with more information, maybe even some stuff related to this at some point. So if you guys didn't know, we have a private group that I run for Chris Cooking Nashville called The Band, but Dustin is so kind as to be one of our members over there and be involved, and is going to be providing some cool info for stuff that he's doing on KetoSimple to share with you guys too. So Holly Springer is here, says good afternoon. And we have Sherry Nevada Pup here. Hello, boys. Dorinda Brown is here. Hello. Good to see you, Dorinda. And there's my dad saying, hey, guys, here briefly before work. And Brian says, needed to use Chrome. Hope this helps others. Awesome. Yeah, if you have any issues getting to the DaVinci link, maybe try a different browser. Just make sure everything is working there for you guys. But I do have the link to go to the DaVinci Resolve page of the Blackmagic Design website, so you can download that. And as we said, there is a free version of this, so you do not have to get the paid version to get pretty much all the functionality you want. There's just some cool extra tricks that come with the pro version, but unless you really get deep into this, you're probably not even going to worry about it. And the free version has so much functionality, and like Dustin said, no watermarks, no ads, no nothing. Blackmagic Design is so cool. DaVinci Resolve is a software, but they actually build hardware. They build like speed editors and editing cameras, like all these kinds of things. And their whole thing is like, they want their free version to be so good that you can literally start running a business with it. And then you decide when the money comes in, if you want to upgrade your gear, that you'll get their pro version of software just for the extra tips and tricks it can give you. and then also that you'll buy their hardware to go along with.
Because once you buy their hardware, you get the software for free.
Absolutely. So they want you to love it so much because the free version is so great that you can actually start a business, and then when you make money, it will pay for you to then download the pro version and all. So that's why it works so well, even with the free version. Quick Carnivore Cutler says greetings from Tucson. Rock and Keto. Amy says hi everyone. And
Amy's been using DaVinci for about a week.
Yeah. So she's jumping on board. Caleb has a great question. Is it on mobile? It is not, because it is not a mobile app. It is actually a full software suite. So you will need to use a computer for this, but I know it's a little bit of a pain that it's not on mobile for some people, but the benefit of that is you don't have to worry about the mobile apps taking it away from you.
If you have certain phone models, DaVinci Resolve or Blackmagic Design, which is the company that owns it, has a camera app that builds itself right in. You can do all the things you never even knew you wanted a camera to do.
Yes.
Or ever would probably even need it to do.
Yep.
I don't even use it, to be honest with you. It is pretty complicated as far as the camera app goes. But my phone is one that has access to it. So it's always a little extra bonus to know that that's there.
Yep. Absolutely. So, and you do kind of make a trade-off when you do something with mobile with like editing, because you only have so much screen real estate and so much processing power. You can only do so much editing wise. That's why Blackmagic has created DaVinci to go on a computer, because you just have more editing power. So, you know, it's a little less convenient for those of you who might be using mobile to edit. But once I think we show you what we're doing here, and we show you the very easy, just pull stuff in and do a quick edit version of this, you're going to probably see that this is actually pretty approachable for even the very beginners. Brilliant Blessed News and More says, this is going to be super helpful. I need an editing for dummies course. I work, so editing has not been a quick learning for me. Thanks for this info. Yeah, and I get it. I mean, it took me months to figure this out because I was working full time and not able to focus on this all the time. So John says, video editing, not for me. My wife does that. Well, cool. Maybe your wife will find some info here watching a replay. Rick says the trick is finding the right computer for the job. Yes, having a computer that will work for this is very helpful. Barbara's here. Hi, Chris. I'm Barbie from Louth in England. I love your recipes. Makes the journey so much easier. Love to you and your lovely wife. Well, thank you so much, Barbara. This is not my wife, by the way. This is Dustin from KetoSimple, although he is a good-looking man over here. There is Lynette. She says, hi, guys. Hi, Lynette. So glad you're here. Carnivore Cutler. I installed DaVinci on the new laptop. After starting it a short while ago and got a notification from Windows Security asking if I want to allow private and public network access. Should I allow?
I don't think I ever got that question from them.
I'm wondering if, so Blackmagic also has like a cloud service that can be part of DaVinci where you can actually edit, and then someone else around the world can also access that project to edit. That's probably why it's asking that, I would guess. So as long as it's from Windows asking about Blackmagic's public access,
I'd probably say I would allow private.
Yeah, private should be totally fine. So, but yeah, the Blackmagic company is used all around the world and very trusted. So shouldn't be an issue for you. There's my great big brother-in-law, Brandon Box, out in California. Hello, Brandon. We appreciate you, big brother. Mary T is here. Hello, all. I'll be doing social media for real estate agents. I'll look into this program. Currently use Canva. Okay, so let's talk about Canva real quick, because several people asked, can you use Canva for video? Canva is a graphic design program. That's what I use to make all of my thumbnails. So you can make pictures. You can put together video clips, but it is not a video editing software. It is a video graphic design sort of option that it has, where you can take already edited clips and you can put them into something and put borders around it and put it, you know, like with a background and things like that from a graphic design standpoint. But it does not give you editing capability. So what we're talking about here is editing capabilities, and both very useful programs, but just very different tasks that they do. Linda is here, says, I just made Maria Emmerich's protein-sparing noodles in a super stew using leftover pork loin and ground beef cooked in butter, and it's awesome. That's great. Sunny is here. Hi, Chris and Dustin. I'm busy at the moment. Watch the replay. Thanks for doing this video. You're welcome. And that's the thing. You guys can come back refer to this. Bless you, my brother. You can come back and refer to this as many times as you need to. So if you're trying to learn this software, come back and refer to the things we show you and use it to guide yourself through learning this the first time. So let's see. The Tundra Terror is here. Glad to see more people are moving to Resolve. Totally agree. It's a great program. Rick says, having videos that make money is a concept I have no experience with. You can get there. It is a process. Goodness. Bless you, my brother. Those allergies are getting us today, folks.
It's warmer here than it is at home.
All right. And yes, Amy makes a good point. There is a version for iPad. So they do have an iPad suite. Of course, iPads are not as powerful as computers, so it does work a little slower. I used to do it on the iPad all the time. So it does work on iPad if you have one that is new enough and has a powerful enough processor to keep up with it. So, all right, let's see. Amy says, I just upgraded the memory and put a 2 terabyte gaming hard drive in my laptop. 8 also stream with OBS, which uses a lot of resources. Yeah, OBS is definitely a heavy one. Lewis says Final Cut Pro all the way. I have never used Final Cut Pro, but I think there's a reason a lot of people are switching from Final Cut Pro over to DaVinci. I believe Final Cut Pro also is a subscription model, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they do have a purchase outright model as well.
Outright? Yeah. Okay.
And it also is kind of like works. It's supposed to like integrate really well with Apple products.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I use Apple everything and have no issue with DaVinci, but I know Final Cut Pro is, I think they're owned by Apple.
I mean, it's also a very full-featured, very full, rich program.
Yeah, it does work a little bit differently, though, as far as where certain things are. So if you do anything like this, and then you try to go from DaVinci over to Final Cut, it is going to look a little bit different. So, and I see Lewis says Final Cut is subscription for iPad only. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, we don't do the whole subscription thing in my house. I'm not into that. So DaVinci, you can get it for free. Pretty much does everything you'll want to do. And if you really build a big time editing business, you can get the paid version to get those last little special things. Cranky Carnivore Cutler says I use Canva to make business cards and brochures. That's basically what I use it for, is that kind of stuff. Brenda Foley is here, says bless you too, Brenda. And Cindy is here, ear hustling. We'll watch the replay. Excellent. Lewis says Final Cut for Mac is a one-time purchase. Apple makes the software and the hardware a great combo. Yeah, I've never used Final Cut Pro. Like I said, DaVinci does everything I can possibly want it to do, and it is pretty much the Hollywood standard. So that's why I go with that. But if you guys want to check out Final Cut Pro, I'm sure there's some videos out there for it. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to go ahead and just take Dustin's logo off the screen there for a minute, and I'm going to show you guys my screen that I have a window pulled up here, and we're going to start talking about DaVinci. Let's see. Well, I had it pulled up. Maybe I closed it accidentally.
Way to go, Chris.
I'm telling you, it's like I'm not even prepared. Ridiculous. All right, there is that. And we're going to pull this up for you guys. So what we're going to kind of do is I'm going to open this up in a brand new project, and I'm going to show you what this is like if you are doing this for the very first time. Okay, so this right here is just a blank project window in DaVinci, and we're going to get into some of the functionality of these different page tabs down here. We're going to do a brief overview. I'm not going to dive deep into really any of these pages other than maybe one or two a little bit, because if you get really into video editing, this stuff can get very intense over here. But these first couple 3 pages here is probably what most of you are going to care about. So I was just going to show you really quickly too. I'm going to pull up this window as well. Let's see. Let's go ahead and pull up this one. So when you open up DaVinci, this is the project management window you're going to see. And you can see I have several things in here I've been working on. This is where all of your projects are. This right here is the one that we are on currently. It doesn't have any picture on it because there's nothing inside of it. I just created a brand new project. So when you open this up, if you don't have this thing right here going on, this just says new project underneath of it. You can double click it, or you can come down here and you can click this new project button, and it's going to open up a brand new window. And when you open up a brand new window, I'm going to show you here what you are going to see. Here it is. All right, when you open a brand new project, this right here is the screen that it drops you onto. This is called your cut page, and we'll talk about why it's called a cut page, but this is what it's going to open up to. Now, Dustin may have a different way of approaching this, but each video editor kind of finds their process, sort of their workflow that works best for them, and you just have to experiment with it and kind of figure out what makes the most sense to you and how it is easiest for you to remember. But I'll just show you guys, this is what I like to do. I open up a brand new project, and this is the window it opens up. And you can see it is highlighted down here at the bottom, and this is your cut page symbol. I go to the one right before it here, and this is my media page, okay? So all of these little tabs at the bottom you can click, and it just takes you to each individual page. All of these pages across the bottom talk to each other. So whatever you do on one page affects what's available on all the other pages as well, but they all have different functions with the same information, okay? So this first page here is your media page. I go to this one because this is where I like to get all of my video clips, my pictures, my sounds, my music, everything. I like to work with it here just because it's easy to do. Okay, so let me just show you what I would do essentially. I would come here to my media page. I've already got, video clips on my computer. I've filmed with my cell phone, and I've transferred those video clips over to my computer or my camera, and you can download it to your computer, whatever. You put your videos on your computer, and then I come right here where it says no clips in media pool, and I right click, and it brings up this little box right here, and you can learn like keyboard shortcuts and all kinds of stuff for all these things, but using a mouse is just honestly the easiest way for me most of the time. Right here where it says import media, I can click that, and it's going to bring up a box of all of my media, and I'll show you that as well. So let's go grab the media window. Okay, so this is what it looks like here. It just pulls up all of my media that I'm looking at, and it's available on a computer. I can go to things I have on my desktop. I can go to my downloads. I can go to, recent applications, whatever. I can go to things that are tagged in various ways. You can decide how you organize your computer, but it just gives you access to everything that is on your computer. So I'm just going to come here to my downloads, and here's a few video clips from my cracker recipe that just came out. So I'm just going to grab a few of these like that. And this little blue open symbol down here, open button, is now available. It may look a little bit different on Mac versus Windows, but you can grab all of your video clips. You can grab music files, anything that you want to put in here, pictures, any of it. You can grab all of that. I'll go ahead and grab a picture as well, just so I can show you guys what happens when you do pictures. And I'm just going to hit open. And then what that's going to do is drop that media into my media page on DaVinci, which looks like this. Okay, so now we have our media available here in DaVinci. And remember, we're just on the media page. So this is just the media that I have essentially linked to this project. And this is the way that if you think about DaVinci this way, I think it makes it really easy to understand. The video clips, all of this stuff, it exists on your computer. This right here is just a visual representation that your computer has linked it into this project in DaVinci, but it does not actually hold a new copy of it. And that's really important to understand, because everything I'm going to show you that I'm about to do, it just makes a lot more sense if you think about the fact that this isn't actually a video file. It's just a placeholder that's talking to your computer. Okay, and everything we do from this point forward is based on that. So essentially, if you take that video off the computer, it's going to not work in the project as well. Or if you move it to a different location on your computer, you have to then relink it in the project. So just so you guys know, that's just how DaVinci works, because I didn't understand that when I first started doing this. And then I wouldn't have things linked, and I was like, where'd my video files
go? Just a red square?
Yeah, it's just a red square, says no media, and you're like, what's going on? So that's why it's important to understand that this is not the video itself. It's just a placeholder that is talking to the video file on your computer, okay? So any of these video files here, you can rename them. You can do different things to them as far as like what they look like inside of this project. If you put your mouse over top of it, it pulls up a preview in this window, and you can actually scroll the mouse just by moving back and forth and get a preview of what's in that video file. So I can see like, okay, what was I doing in there, right? And that's what I'm trying to figure out, how I can look through like, okay, this is this video clip, this is this video clip, whatever. Now, I don't think Dustin does this, but this is something I do, and this is especially helpful if you have a real slow or older computer. Like if it's good enough that it will work with DaVinci, because it's an updated enough computer that it can, handle modern programs. But if it's a little slower, this is a really helpful tip. So you can click any one of these. You see it puts a little red box around it. Or you can click and drag to select multiple. I'm going to select all of my video clips like that. Then I'm going to click it. I'm going to right hand click. If you right click, anytime you right click in DaVinci, it brings up a menu that gives you other options. I do this with all of my video files before I ever start working, just to make sure my computer can work as fast as possible. There's a thing right here that's called Generate Proxy Media, and I know you can't see that on there. So let me see if I can share. Maybe I can just share my whole screen with you guys. It's going to look a little messy for a second, but let's do that, and you'll be able to see, hopefully.
You want to remove us from the screen.
Yeah, so let me. Okay. Let's try. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go right here. Getting this whole screen sharing thing going on for you guys. Entire screen. Okay. All right. So when I pull up my DaVinci window, so I highlight all of this, and when I right click, you see this menu pops up. Okay, anytime you right click anything in DaVinci, these little additional menus pop up, which I didn't know that when I first started doing this. So I had no idea where any of this stuff was, and I was up at the top looking for options. Right clicking just brings up a menu. So I've highlighted my video clips. I come down here where it says Generate Proxy Media, and what this does is basically create a smaller working file size, so it makes a slower computer work faster with these video files. So I do that, click that, and it's going to generate proxy media. You can see it's just counting down. It's just kind of taking an account of what that video file looks like all the way through, making kind of digital marker points along the way. And then that way, when it works with all of it, it doesn't have to work with the entire file. Okay, so we're just going to let that go. Now, you said you don't do the generate proxy media portion, right? You just work with the files the way they come in.
Right. I do sometimes lower the resolution that I'm working with.
Mm.
That seems to do the trick for me. It just looks a little grainy sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll show you guys how you can change the resolution of your timeline where you're working with all of this as well. So, okay. So I've done that. Now you can kind of see, it's a little tough to see, but right here, there's like a little, it almost looks like a piece of film strip or something. and it says HQ on it. It's kind of like white and a little bit of a pink background right there above where my mouse is. That's how you know that that is linked as a proxy media. Okay, so if you don't see that on there, you know that it's not linked. But if you got that on there, it's a linked proxy media. Now, if you move that file to another part of the computer, you have to relink it like we were talking about, because there will be no media. So, okay, so this is the media page. I see Lewis is asking where the timeline is. We're not there yet, Lewis. Hang out. This is just the media page. There is no timeline on the media page. That's why all of these pages function differently, which that's what confused me when I first did this, because I didn't understand all the pages were for different things, but that they all were talking about the same project. And it's confusing if you don't know that, but once you do, it makes total sense. So here's my media. I've got this media all set up. That's the only thing I do on this page. I never do anything else here other than set up my media. Now, you can see over here, these are what's called bins. Let me make my window just a little bigger here so you guys can see a little bit more of this. Okay, so over here are bins. Okay, this is just the master bin, which think of these as like folders on your computer. It's just like a filing cabinet. I can click new bin and I can put in a new bin underneath of here, and I can rename it. So I can make it like videos. And then if I wanted to, I could create another one that is photos. So here I can do one that's photos. You can do one that's music. You can do all these different kinds of things. And so you can highlight any of this, and then you can just drag it and drop it into a folder. So it just makes it easier to keep everything organized if you have like a really big project.
Right.
So I can just take this photo and drop it in there. So now I know which folder has all my videos, which one has all my photos, what has all my music, etc. That's why this media page is so powerful, because it works just like files on the desktop of your computer. So you can organize everything before you start editing so you don't get lost anywhere. Okay, so that's your bins right here under your master. Now you're also going to see down here it says power bins. This, a power bin or a power grade or a power anything, what that means is this is a bin where you can put stuff, and it is then accessible in every project, not just the one we're currently working on.
Right. Your outros, any of your PDFs or your PNGs that you utilize for logos.
Yep.
They're in every video.
All of it. So in mine, I have background music that I use regularly in all of my videos. I have sound effects that I use. I can access these in any of my projects. I also have this little one right here. If you guys watch my videos, you know my little fire logo that pops up right here. That is here in my power bins. And so what I can do is I can either just access the power bins to drop it in things, or what I like to do is I can go here to my master power bin. I can get my little fire logo and my little intro music thing by highlighting both of those. And I can grab them and bring them over here and drop them into the master. And now when I come here, oh, look, now I have access to those as well. So I can get to these anywhere that I need to. So when I'm setting my stuff up, I have my power bins with all the stuff that's the same across all my projects. And then I use the master bin up here as a way to organize whatever's going into each individual video. Okay, that's what I do on the media page. Do you have anything else about the media page you like to do or use?
I mean, just photos, videos, PNGs, anything that, and I usually kind of build mine as I go. I don't always have everything I need. Sometimes, depending on the kind of video that I'm making, I'm pulling in assets as I'm editing.
Right.
So I'm like, and then also I'm like, oh, that'll be, I have an idea for something. I'm like, then I'll go get it and I'll put it where it needs to go.
Right.
But keeping things organized, especially if you're going to make a full-length video, and then you can turn around and use all your stuff to then create a short out of it, which we may or may not touch on today. But having all of that information right there is really easy to then just to go and transfer and make a whole other piece of content right out of it.
Absolutely. And that way it's, you know exactly where everything is. You can come back to it, find it, throw it together, and it's just easy to do. Okay. So this right here is your media page, and it's just for media. You can actually drag and drop things from the desktop of your computer over here too. Like, as you play with this, you'll figure out it basically works just like the desktop on your computer. And if you think about it that way, it makes this so much easier. Okay, so that's our media page. The very next thing I do is I come over here to the cut page. Okay, so my cut page right here is really where a bulk of my big editing stuff happens. At least the big major cuts. Like, so if I have video clips and I'm cutting them up into pieces that all go together to create the one video you guys see at the end, this is where the big chunks that I cut out are cut. Okay. I use the cut page in that way, and I'm going to show you why. So Lewis was asking, where's the timeline? All right, well, now you can see down here, you can see there's times written here at the top. Okay, this is the timeline, but you notice there's nothing on the timeline because our media is on our media page. It's in the project, but it's not actually been put on the timeline. We haven't created any actual video yet. We just have access to it up here.
Yeah, because it doesn't know what order you want things to be.
Right. So what I do, you can come up here and you can actually change the order of how it sorts your media. So you come to this little drop-down arrow right here on your cut page. You can source this by time code. If you're into, like, filming with film cameras that have time codes and you track all of that stuff, multicams, like all kinds of stuff. If you're using multiple cameras, you can sort it by which camera it comes from. You can do it by the date and time. You can do it by the name of the clip. Like if you come up here and you go, oh, I want to rename this, you can just, again, right click, right? You can right click and you can get all of these different things here, right? And so you can actually rename all of your clips. Like just like you do on a desktop on a computer, if you click it and then you click the name underneath of it, you can now rename that. Okay, and I'm not going to at the moment, but you can just type in whatever name you want. So you can sort all of your stuff by the clip name. You can sort it by what bin it's in. If you've created multiple bins, you can sort them that way. You can do scene and shot if you are, again, if like a filmmaker and they have all of these scene and shot bits of info. You can do different colors of clips. We'll show you how to do a little bit of that later, but you can sort it by color, the date that it was modified, the date that you imported it if you're working on a project for multiple days, whether it's online or not. There's all sorts of ways to sort this out. So what I do, because I use my phone to film, is I always sort by the date modified. And the reason I do that is because the date that I record it is also the date that it was modified, and it has a time code with that. So it puts these in chronological order. And since I'm cooking, everything is always in chronological order. So this is one of those things where I'm talking about how you figure out what works best for your workflow, which is how you record, how you film, what order things are done in, etc. And it's just a little bit of practice, and you'll figure out a really efficient way of doing that. For me, everything is in chronological order, so I just sort it by date modified, and you can see the names of these are, so it's image underscore 0592. This is 593, 594, 95, 96, 97. So these are the order I recorded them in, which is also the order the recipe happens in. So what I do, you can do these one at a time, but what I like to do, because they're already in order, I just highlight all of my videos. You grab it from your media pool, which is up at the top of the screen here on the cut page, and you drag it down to your timeline, and you let go, and it creates your timeline. And now I have all my video clips in here. And you've got so this little red thing right here, if you guys don't know, this is called your playhead. And where this is sitting is what you're seeing in the preview window right here. So the way the cut page works is the timeline is in two different places. You have your zoomed in timeline here where the playhead stays in the middle of the screen. And then up here, you have a zoomed out timeline. You can see the whole thing, and this playhead will move. So I can come here. You can see my mouse turns into a double arrow. I can grab the top of this timeline with a double arrow, and I can move that left and right, and you can see the video updating here. Or I can come up here and I can grab this playhead and I can move quickly through the entire video. So this is really nice because I can see my whole timeline here and I go, oh, I didn't want that little clip. I can just click that one and I can just hit the delete button on my keyboard and it's gone. Or I can hit undo and I can put it back. Okay, so this is our cut page. And so what I do is I go through here and I do my big major cuts. And let me explain sort of why. So right here, this is just Ash telling me that we're ready to film and me getting ready to speak. And then right there is where I start. So I'm like, okay, all of this stuff right here, I don't need any of this. This is all just wasted stuff, right? So I need to get rid of that. So I'm going to set my playhead right here where I want to cut something. And now there's different ways of doing this. You can right click and you can click cut. And that gets rid of that. Okay, I'm going to undo that. So you can click to cut. So the way that I generally do this, I use a keyboard shortcut. I don't know if you do that, but so on your keyboard, if you hit the command and the backslash button, which is underneath of your backspace button, you can do that, and you see how it clips it cuts the clip into two little things right there. Now you've got this sort of glowing green line. Okay, you can see that we put a cut right there, which means now I can click this one or this one. I can have two different clips, and I can just delete the one that I don't want. And if I want it back, I just undo it. I can even undo the cut that I just did. I can also use the arrow keys on my keyboard to adjust left and right just slightly so I can pick exactly where I want it to cut. Now, here's what the cut page does that is really helpful. So this is how you would go through and you would just start cutting out the dead space that you don't need in your video clips. But this is what the the cut page does that is really unique, and this is why I do most of my major cuts here at the beginning. Let's say I cut this, but I was too far forward. I was right here, and I cut that, and I deleted that. Well, now I could totally undo that. I could bring that back, and I could fix where I had cut it, but that's a multi-step process. Or, easier, I can bring my mouse right here, and you see how it turns into this little bracket kind of looking thing with an arrow to the left. I can grab this, and I can just fix that back to the original amount of the video clip that I need. So I can adjust this end of the video clip in either direction, and it knows the source material. This is why it's sourcing things from your computer and not keeping the video file in DaVinci, because it doesn't have to remember what you did or did not just cut off. It just figures out where in the video clip it already is, and then it's pulling more information back off your computer. So if I want to add stuff back in or take stuff away, it doesn't need to remember where I was in the first place. It doesn't have to hold that whole file inside. So your cut page lets you do this. Okay? So you can go through, you can click up here, you can just cut out big chunks of stuff, we can get rid of whole clips, etc. So once I do that on the cut page, that's kind of the bulk of what I'm doing on the cut page here. Do you use the cut page a lot? I know some people love it and some people hate it.
I don't. In the very beginning, I would use the cut page, but I do almost everything on the edit page.
Yeah. So one of the reasons I use the cut page too is I'm gonna put our picture back on screen here for just a minute. One of the things that I do is I use the cut page all of the time because my brothers-in-law and my lovely wife were so kind as to get me a speed editor. This works with the cut page. It lets you scroll back and forth with the little wheel here, and it's got shortcut keys and stuff. So that makes it a lot faster for me. That's also when I got the DaVinci Resolve Pro download for free with it when they got that for me. So that's why I have Pro, but that's why I also love the cut page so much for my big edits, because I can do it so fast. So if you're interested in like editing quickly and you want to really get into this, DaVinci makes things like that you will be able to enjoy. Okay, so we're going to go back to our screen here, and we're going to go back to DaVinci. So that's what I do on the cut page. Now, Dustin was just saying he doesn't really use the cut page. You use the edit page.
Right.
Okay, so what's the difference between the cut page and the edit page? So here's our cut page. Right next to it is our edit page. Now, you can technically do all the same things on both of these pages, but it works differently when you do it. So let me give you guys an example. So first of all, you can see now your playhead does not stay in the middle of the screen. The playhead moves with the timeline back and forth on the screen. So this is helpful if you want to just scroll back and forth through video like this easily and quickly, and you need to then move the playhead to a particular spot or kind of go back and forth without it being stuck in the middle of the screen. So you can get a really wide view. And you can also see right here, there's a minus sign and a plus sign. So if you want to see more of the timeline, you can zoom out of it and you can see the entire thing. If you need to get closer so you can do finer work, you can zoom all the way in and you can just go back and forth. Okay, so it gives you a lot of options on the edit page to kind of move back and forth and pick where you want things to be and all this different kind of stuff. So let me show you what happens now if we do the exact same thing we just did on the cut page on the edit page. So let's say I needed to make a cut right here. And I cut it. Okay. So here's one video clip. Here's another video clip. Now watch what happens. So first of all, notice this little, looks like a two links of a chain right here above the edit page. I do not have that clicked. See, I can click it and it's white, or I can click it and it turns kind of like a gray. So right now I don't have that selected. So watch what happens if I click this video clip and I delete it. My audio clip is separate and it's still there. So if you want to have audio from something, but you want to have a different video clip on top of it, you can totally get rid of the video and save the audio this way. Or maybe you need the video, but there's no audio. You want to use music or something else. I can click the audio and I can get rid of the audio instead. Or let's say I was getting rid of both of them. So if I have this link chain thing that I was talking about clicked, now if I click the video, see how it highlighted the video and the audio both? It's because it's linking the video and the audio together for me to select it. And now if I delete it, both go away. But you also notice now there's an empty space between this video clip here and this video clip here. So in the edit page, you can delete things in a way where this empty space will go away automatically, or you can delete it and leave that empty space there, which sometimes I actually use that.
Yeah.
For like if I'm going to fade out and I want a black screen, or if I'm going to drop other stuff in. So what kinds of stuff do you tend to do with that? Because it's a cool tool if you know how to use it.
So when I go in and I'm building the beginning of my video, one of the first things I do after I get all my raw footage put in place, I do it backwards from a lot of people, but because I usually do a little bit of color grading with the whole clip all at once. Because I don't do anything fancy like you do. Mine's pretty simple.
Sure.
But I go in and I cut my intro, and then I go ahead and I cut where the video starts, and then I drop my little intro. I drop my little so the hook. Then I drop my intro in, and then that's where my video starts, where it's like da 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 da, and it's like do 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 do, and then it's like thank you for clicking on the video. Yeah, so I mean that's how I use it.
Cool. Very cool. So, and again, this is the kind of thing you play with it a little bit and you go, oh, this is a really powerful tool. I could use it to do this. And however you make it work, go for it. I mean, there's really no rules. That's the thing about video editing. There's no rule. It's just, are you achieving the effect that you want? And if you find the way that works best for you, that you enjoy, that makes the most sense to you, by all means, do it.
One of the major reasons I like utilizing the edit page over the cut page is I can split the screen. And I can have all the timeline stuff over there. I can have my media and my effects and all of that stuff on a separate screen.
Yep.
So then that stuff's not clouding me. It's there if I need it.
Yep.
But I can go through and I can cut, And I'm a very short, a keyboard shortcut person.
Right.
I don't have the video editor.
Right. The video editor that I have, the speed editor, makes the cut page work a lot faster, which is probably why I love using it so much and why you don't. The edit page, if you don't have something like that, is a little bit easier to zoom back out from it and just kind of make major strokes. But again, you can use either one. Use the cut page or the edit page to do most of the same things. It's just which one makes the most sense to you.
Right.
So now this is something I didn't understand when I first started using DaVinci. So here is one video file. Here's another, and here's an empty space between the two. I was trying to grab these because this is like a timeline. You can take your mouse and click, and you can move this back and forth, left and right, forward and backwards in time. So I was grabbing things, moving it here, setting it next to this video, this whole thing. I didn't understand that I could go here and click the empty space and just hit delete.
I don't think I knew that either.
I didn't know that.
I learn little things all the time. And Daniel Patel, he puts out these little shorts. They're called DaVinci Resolve for Noobs.
Yes, they're great.
And he has something just like that.
Yep.
Sometimes a little more in depth, but they're just the simplest. Like, I've been doing this for 4 years, and I'll watch it. And I'll message him like, dude, really? Thank you.
Yes. Super time saver. So we have linked his channel. I know you got it on your live stream of this. Yeah. I've got it on mine as well. I've also linked a guy named Mr. Alex Tech, who does a lot of stuff with like effects and like all kinds of tips and tricks, and like talks about the updates every time DaVinci comes out with things, so you can learn what the new things are.
And he'll talk about what's new in the free version and what's new in the studio version, so you can go, because a lot of times you'll see, oh, that's really cool, and you find out, oh, well, I can't do it, I don't have studio.
Right. So he's really good about telling you guys what you have access to in both versions and giving you tips of, here's an effect in the pro version, here's a way you can also do it in the free version. Right. So it might take a little more work, but here's how you make it work. So he gives you lots of options. I also, in my stream, have linked a guy named Darren Moston, who I've learned a bunch about like color grading and stuff, but he talks about things like the cut page, the sync bin, like all kinds of tools that exist within DaVinci, because he's a professional colorist. Like, he takes like Hollywood level and broadcast TV projects and does all of the color grading. So he's like super intense into that side of things. So we have all those linked. If you guys want like a bunch of additional info, go watch those guys, because they are wealths of information about how to do this. Is how we both learned to do this. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put that video clip back. Now, there are different ways of doing this in the edit page, but you can cut your video just like that. You can click it and you can delete it, and you can delete the empty space like we just did. Or you can also go here, you can cut your video, you can select it, and you can hit shift and delete, and it will do it both at the same time. So it's little things like that.
Like for me, for me, the way I cut, so I'll do Control B, which is the cut.
Right.
And then it usually will highlight the clip to the left.
Yep.
And I can either hit delete to make it go and delete the space and the clip, or just backspace. It will delete just the clip and leave the space.
Awesome.
So there's a plethora of ways to do it, and you'll kind of find your groove. And
yep, absolutely. So you can do all of this editing right here on the editing page, on the edit page. You can do all of this editing over here on the cut page. You can do it in either place, but anything you do here, like if I grab, so I'm going to unlink my video and my audio just for fun. Let's do this. I can grab this video file, and you see how I can just start cutting it backwards, but the audio is not coming with it. That's something I can only do on the edit page. You can't do that on the cut page. But if I go to the cut page, see how the video is gone, but the audio is still here? So you can do different things occasionally, like, little things here and there. They're maybe different from one page to another, but whatever you do on one page is going to be the same on the other pages. So that's why DaVinci is so easy to use when you understand how it's laid out, because everything you do on each page does the same thing on all the other pages, but each page is made to make certain things easy to do. So you don't have to try to do all of the same things on one page where it's hard to figure out how to make it all work. You do each task on a different page, but it still affects the final project the same way. And that's what I love about using DaVinci doing this. Okay, so we're just going to put our video back. Okay, so this is your edit page. I'm not going to go super deep into this because you can get into a really big rabbit hole really fast. But just so you guys can kind of see this, so here's our edit page. Up at the top of the edit page, and you also have a version of this on the cut page. Right up here at the top, we have our media pool, which is all of our media right here. Transitions, which you can grab and you can drop where two clips meet each other. So you can transition from one into the next. I'll show you that in a minute. Titles, if you want to put text on the screen, is all here. And if you hover your mouse over it, it'll give you a preview of what it looks like. There's an effects tab that you can like add all of these things. Like, so I can make it look like my video is a video call from a cell phone or from a iPad or, you know, something. I can make it look like I'm in a comic book. Like there's just all kinds of things. And all of these things are things you literally click and then you drag it down here and you drop it where you need it. And it's why this is so easy. So if I go to the edit page, see all the same stuff, media pool. If I go to my effects here, it brings up these menus over here, video transitions, audio transitions. My titles are all here. Some generators for like backgrounds or different things you can do. All of the effects we were talking about. So like binoculars, I can make it look like
some of these is where you'll kind of get into what you can't utilize in the free version.
Yes, some of these are the kinds of things in the free version. You have like maybe a handful of these, and then in the pro version, you get a whole bunch more.
You still get a lot.
You still get a bunch,
but there's just a few in there that are like kind of extra.
Some of the weird specialty ones that honestly a lot of you probably wouldn't really need to use anyway. I've never used most of them.
Yeah,
I don't even know what I would use them for. And then there's
you can pick favorites too.
Yes, you can favorite all of this stuff. So like these are like open effects. They're filters. So like blurs and all this kind of stuff. A couple of these you get for free. The rest are the pro version. But like so like for example, this one right here, I believe this film grain is a pro version one, but this works the same for all of these. So if I put my mouse over it, it gives you a preview in the window of what it looks like, whatever the effect is. And then there's a little star right here at the end of the box. And if I click it, it adds a little star. And then there's a little favorites thing down here. And it added it into my favorites. Super easy, super simple. And you can then unclick the star to take it out of your favorites. Like it just makes this so easy. And again, you can access this on the edit page. You can access it on the cut page. It's all there. It might look slightly different because of the layout of the page, but it's all there for you. So if I wanted to cut out a little chunk of the video here. So now I have a video clip here. So I have a video clip here and I have a video clip here. I can go to video transitions, and let's say I want to blur between the two. This is one called Blur Dissolve. And if you look at the preview window of my video, you can kind of see what that's going to look like. I can just grab the blur and just drag it over here and drop it between those two video files. And now it blurs between the two.
Yep.
And you can click, let me zoom in so it's a little easier for you to see here. So you see the little white box here, which is your transition. I can click that transition, and anything you click down here in the timeline is up here in this. See this little thing that says inspector in the top right corner? You can open and close it. The inspector is showing you whatever you clicked down here. So if I click my transition, here's my transition. You see it shows transition. It's a blur dissolve. It lasts for 1 second. It's aligned in the middle of the two clips. I can adjust different things within it. I can make it longer or shorter by just clicking and dragging left and right on the duration. And you can do that by seconds. You can do it by frames. You can set it as a default if you find a certain way you like it to use it every time. All kinds of stuff you can do. Or I can come down here on the timeline and then go right to the edge of it, and it turns into a little double arrow, and I can shorten it or lengthen it that way too. It really is it looks confusing until someone shows you how to do it. And then it's like, well, that's just kind of common sense.
It just becomes very intuitive.
It's just very easy once you understand how it's all working. Okay, so, and then if you're like, oh, I don't like that transition, click it, delete it.
And then there's a plethora of other ones up there.
Yep, absolutely. So if that transition was there and you go, I want a transition, but I don't like that one, see this transition type drop-down box? You can click it. You can change it to any of the others you have access to. Like the center wipe. I use the center wipe all the time because it wipes away from the center from one to the other. Right? You can reveal things. So there's just all kinds of stuff. And you can just kind of play around with these. Everything you do in DaVinci, you can hit Command Z or Apple Z, and you can undo whatever you just did.
Or Control Z.
Or Control Z if you're on a Windows. You can undo whatever you just did. Or you can come up here and go Edit and click Undo, and it shows you what the keyboard shortcut is for undo. You can undo whatever you just did. So if you do something and you don't like it, or you're like, I don't know what I just did, just undo it.
Yeah.
Right? And this is how you learn. You just play with these things in DaVinci, and you can undo all this stuff. Okay, so you pull all your videos down here. You edit everything. Let's say you need something on top of something else. So let me show you guys this photo that I had, right? So I just double-click my photo folder, right? This is a bin. It's called a bin, but it's a folder. It's all it is. I'm going to double click that, open it up. So you now see I have a photo in here. Well, what if I was talking about something here and I wanted the photo to come on the screen while I'm talking? This is why I think DaVinci is so cool, and this is way easier than CapCut. You could do this on CapCut on the computer. You could not do this on the mobile version, and I've never used the computer version, but it's so easy on DaVinci. I never even bother with the computer version anyway. So I'm going to come here to my photo. I'm going to click it, drag it, and I'm just going to set it on top of my video.
And then you can add transitions at the beginning and end of it, so it'll flip out and slide in. And
it works just like the video files underneath of it. Whatever is on top is what you see, and whatever's underneath is hidden or covered by whatever's on top of it.
And then you highlight it. You can go in with your inspector, shrink it, move it.
Yep. So if you can see the picture is there, but it's covering my face. I don't like that. So I'm going to click on this. And remember, whatever you click on is what your inspector is going to show. So you can see the video track here. It has zoom, position, rotation, all this kind of stuff. You can just play around with these and experiment. So if I want to make it smaller, I just zoom out. If I want to make it bigger, I can zoom in. So let's say I want to make it right there. And then I've got my position X and Y. That's your X and Y axis. Left and right is X. Up and down is Y. So I'm going to move it left to the side of the screen. And my head's getting a little cut off. So I'm going to bring it down. And like, oh, what if the two of us look this, like make the head the same size? So I can zoom it a little more.
And you can even go in and cut and move yourself on the other one and over to the right.
Yep, that's right. So I can move this one into position, maybe so maybe I move this one into position here. And then I go, the video, which is down here underneath of it, right? The video over here, I need to move that over so that you can see both of me at the same time. And now I've just basically made my head the same size so you can see the difference in the size of my body. And I've positioned it so it takes up the screen in kind of a cool way, right? So you can do this to anything you want to do. And you can stack these as many times as you need to by just continuing to drag it and pull it down. So I can literally move these all over the place and do all kinds of crazy stuff with the zooms and all these sorts of things. And as you can see, so this one is on top. This little tiny one right here is on top. It's the top track, as it were. These are all like tracks down here, video tracks. It's the top track. So it is going to be over the top of all the others. So you know what order everything is in. So this is how you do like those multi-layer videos that have graphics, photos, all different kinds of things coming in. And so I have photos there, but if I come down over here on the left-hand side, see, here's all my toolbox, all my stuff. If I go to titles, we were talking about all those putting text on the screen. If I grab a title, I can come over here and I can drop that title on top, and now I can put text over top of everything else. So I can adjust the size of something, click my title. Oh, my title needs to be bigger, so I can make the settings here. I can make it bigger. And then if I click this little thing that says title, I can come in here where it says text, and I can make it say whatever I want it to say. And it updates it for me. And just like all the other things, I can put transitions on this text, just the same as the photos, just the same as the videos. It's honestly, it's very just like everything works the exact same.
Right.
So very straightforward. So, and unlike on CapCut, where you're trying to figure out like dragging things left and right, and you can't on the phone layer things and whatever, it's all just laid out right here for you. And it just makes this so much easier. And if you add a video file that has sound, like, so these pictures have no sound, obviously, and the text has no sound. But if you add a video, like if I come up here and I grab a video and I lay a video down, you see it has the video file here on top. It also has the audio file down here. So the audio comes in with it. So you can have audio from 2 different videos if you wanted. You could have audio from just one, and you could delete whichever audio you don't want. Like it works. It's really intuitive once you do it a couple of times.
Right.
And it gives you so much more flexibility than something like CapCut, because you can't do any of this stuff easily in CapCut. Even on the computer, I think it's pretty tough, but you definitely can't do any of this on the mobile version. Then you just like highlight all of this, delete it, get rid of it. Now we're back to there. And if, like, okay, so this, I moved it sideways, and now I have a big black bar here. If you come up here, there's a little reset arrow next to any of these things that you adjusted, or there's a big master reset arrow at the top there, so I can just reset it.
I forget about that being there.
Yeah.
There's little bit of tips and tricks that you're always learning.
Yep. So, okay, so for most of you guys, you're going to come in, you're going to add media, you're going to use the cut and or edit page, and you're going to put together a simple video. And that's majority of what you're probably going to want to do. And the rest of this, you kind of have to learn as you go and dive in, just so you know what they are. This next page here on the bottom is called Fusion. And this is where you do like all kinds of visual effects. Like if you see someone like a car flies into the screen and a laser light runs around the sides of the car, all that kind of stuff, this is the place where you create things like that.
Very advanced stuff.
Very, very advanced. I almost never touch the Fusion page because I'm just not at that level.
When I first started, I went in and I was watching videos, and there's plenty of YouTube videos that I was watching how to go in and make like my own custom lower thirds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very slow, if you don't know what you're doing, it's very slow and tedious.
Yes.
But I was determined to learn it, and I don't use it.
Yeah.
Because I've gone in and utilized other assets from other people that have created. I don't really even use lower thirds anymore, but you know.
Yeah. If you want to get into Fusion, go to YouTube, type in DaVinci Resolve how to use Fusion.
Yeah.
Or DaVinci Resolve Fusion, and you will find thousands of videos.
Casey Ferris, I think, is
Casey Ferris has a good one. There's one other guy, I'm forgetting his name right now, that I used to watch pretty regularly. There are people who their whole specialty is just the Fusion page. That's what they do. They do it for a living. So if you really want to get into special effects, you can totally learn that. This is where I spend a lot of my time here in the color page. As you guys learn this, I'm not going to go into a big bunch today, but if you'd like me to do a video on this sometime, maybe I could do one of like how I do color grading. But this is where I would take a look at this video and I go, you know, I don't like the way that looks. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to fix things. So it's a little too cool looking. I'm going to adjust it and make it warmer. I mean, that looks horrible, but I mean, that's the, you know, those are the kinds of adjustments I can do. And then it's like, oh, well, the highlights I want to be more here, and the midtones I need to move a little more because the skin tones aren't right. And then my shadows, I want those to be colder. And so you can start like adjusting the way things look to make it look more natural or to make it look a little crazy if you want. Like that's what this whole page is for. And I'm a super big nerd about this page. I love this stuff. If you guys would like me to do a video or a live stream on that sometime, let me know. But that's all the color grading stuff on this page, on the color page. This is Fairlight, which is basically where you can go and you can do things to your audio. You can add effects to your audio. You can do EQ to make it sound better. There's some presets in here. We're not going to dive into it today, but
one thing with audio that I would show them, as a lot of people are going to be putting this up on YouTube.
Yep.
How to go and normalize your audio.
Yep, absolutely. So the one thing that I would suggest every single one of you do, so this little slider right here lets you zoom in and out. Okay.
You can even do it on you can do it on the edit page as well.
Yep, you can do this on the edit page as well. I think it's easier to do it on Fairlight just because there's no video tracks in the way.
Right.
Because you can see Fairlight is only showing you the audio video here. Okay, so it's just, but again, it's all the same stuff. Yeah. It just works differently on this page, so you don't see any audio or video tracks because you're only working on audio. So you can come here. Here's all my audio tracks. You highlight them all. Okay, you right click. Remember, right click is where that whole, like, all the special menus exist. And you see right here where it says normalize audio levels. If you click that, it brings up this little box. And if you're making this for YouTube, there's a drop down box of all different ways you can do this. You can see, like, people that make stuff for Netflix, they can use the Netflix version of this, or Disney, or, you know, all these different ways that these different companies expect this to be done for video creators to do stuff. There's a YouTube option right here. You click YouTube. I always leave it relative. Do you ever do independent or do you relative?
Just relative.
Yeah. So relative means it's going to look at all of the audio as a whole. Independent means it looks at every clip separately.
If you have some really very, very low clips, you may want to do independent. So if you've recorded something and it seems like it's really far away as opposed to everything else, then independent might be, you can play with it. You can undo it and do whatever.
Yeah, you can try it and see what happens. But most of the time, if all of your audio is roughly in the same range, you can just leave this selected at relative. So you click YouTube, make sure relative is selected. You hit normalize. It analyzes everything. And it just made sure all of your audio is the right level for YouTube.
Yep.
And you don't have to do anything else.
Right.
It is simple. It is done. This is one of the things one of my guitar students is learning to do videos for his music stuff. And a lot of his volumes were very low. And so what happens is, to a certain point, YouTube will try to process that up so people can hear it, but it ruins your audio if it does it too much. So that won't do a lot. And it tends to be lower than the volume of, like, say, ads or the video you were watching before or whatever. And it just bothers people when your audio is not the right level.
And the thing, one of the biggest things that people overlook when it comes to creating content is the power that good audio has.
Yes.
Because if you click onto a video and the surroundings loud and you're hearing all the fuzz and the noise, and someone sounds like they're talking to you from a tin can, you're more likely to click off that video no matter how much you want to know that information. That's because audio is going to be something that's far more important most of the time than your actual video.
Right.
Video is important, but audio will get someone to click off faster than anything.
Yep, absolutely. I've been told so many times, people will watch a video that has bad video but great audio, but they will not watch a video that has great video with bad audio.
Right.
They just won't. And it's just, there's something about sound that just drives us crazy as viewers on YouTube. So this is really important. And there's some other things, like if you get the Pro version like Dustin and I are using, there's like a voice isolation function. There's all kinds of things you can eventually upgrade to if you want.
And there's some noise reduction in the free. And if anything you guys want to see, let us know.
Yeah,
we can go into further detail.
Absolutely. Any specific topics or whatever we can dive into. This is just the very quick base level intro. I wish someone would have told me before I tried my first video on it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have been so lost the whole time. Because again, all of this is all pretty easy to use.
Mhm.
You just need to know where it is and what it is.
It's so much easier than you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's one of those, you think it's going to be so hard and complicated that you stress yourself out.
Yep.
And it becomes harder and more complicated.
Yep.
But it is so very simple. Once you, I mean, this is the basic premises of video, audio, and then basically how to get it to the length you want, and then export it so you can upload it.
Absolutely. So that's the Fairlight page where you can just normalize that audio, make sure you're good for YouTube. I also find if it's good for YouTube, it's good for Facebook, it's good for Instagram, it's good for, all that stuff, because YouTube's kind of the gold standard for videos on the line. So so that's your Fairlight page. The last page, and this is one you guys are all going to need to know, this is your deliver page. This is where you export, once you're done, once everything is edited and everything sounds good, and you say, I'm ready to make my video a single video file that I can put on YouTube, I can put on Facebook, I can put on Instagram, whatever. This is the page where you do it. There are all kinds of settings and ways of doing this, and you can customize all this stuff. And it's like there's 100 different things up here. Okay? For most of you, you notice there's all these different kinds of things. You can also even export videos here that are meant to go into other video editing software you can send to someone else because maybe they use a different software. Like Lewis was talking about Final Cut Pro. There's Final Cut Pro. You can export this as a Final Cut Pro video that someone like him could then use in their software. So this does all kinds of things. But the basic thing you guys are going to need to know, one, there's a YouTube preset right here that you can just click like that, and it sets everything the way you need it. And then you just put in the name that you want the video to have, right? Like I want this on my computer to say this, whatever. Type in the name of your video.
One quick thing I don't think people think about when they're naming the file. Naming the file exactly what it is. So if it is, so you're doing a Quest bar review,
right?
You would say Quest bar review peanut butter.
Yep.
And that way, when you go to upload that to YouTube, YouTube sees that file name.
That's right.
And that helps your SEO.
That's right. Yep. It will make it easier for Google, for YouTube, for just the internet in general to figure out what your video is about if the name of the video is what the video is about. So that's a little secret tip that a lot of online creators don't tell you, that the internet and the computer is seeing the name of that video file. Even if I don't, as a viewer, the computer sees it.
Because when you upload it in the back end of YouTube, it shows you the file name. When you go back into your analytics, it shows you the file name.
That's right. So YouTube can see all that info. So put in what that actually is right there. So you just type in the name of your file and then go here where it says browse, and you just pick where on your computer you want to save it. So if I just want to put it on my desktop, or I want to put it in documents, wherever it is you want to keep your video files on your computer. So you just choose where it's going to go. So I'll just let's do the file name. So I'm going to come up here. We'll just pretend we're going to export this. So I'm going to do the file name as editing live stream. And then I'm going to click browse. And I always save mine on my desktop because then I'm like working with them right away and I'm putting them on YouTube. So I'm just going to choose desktop, but you guys put it wherever you want. And you hit save. Now it knows where to put that file. Here's all of the info. It already has all this set. You guys don't have to do anything to this. As you learn more about this, you can choose to do different things.
Yes.
But right now, just use the preset and it'll take care of it for you. And then you can start doing that research as you go.
That way you get consistency. Every single video looks the same.
Absolutely. So your YouTube preset just handles all of these things. And then you come down here to this button at the bottom that says add to render queue. That tells it, okay, this is a video that I want to actually be a video. And it puts it over here. And you can actually put multiple versions of this together all over here at once. And then you hit this button that says render all. And it is now turning this into a video that you can upload to YouTube. And once it is done, you can then upload that video. Now, depending on the speed of your computer, this can take 10 minutes. this can take 10 hours.
Yeah.
Depends on how long the video is, what all you've done to it, all this kind of stuff.
The color grading.
The color grades, all of these different things you're adding. I have a very, very fast computer. When I do the videos, because I'm doing like high quality video rendering and like a lot of color grade stuff. When I do that stuff, it takes me 2 to 3 hours usually to render out a 12 to 15 minute video.
I do everything to 1080p. So I'm doing it as like just regular high definition.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes me, depending on short, may take less than a minute.
Yeah.
And then a full-length 12 to 20-minute video probably takes me 15, 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is especially when you're first starting out, you're not doing 4K color grading with all the effects and stuff that slows the rendering down.
Right.
So you can, I had a lot of issues with an old computer that I had that I would have to usually try to render something 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And now my computer that I use now is a lot better. But I'm like, for me and the content that I make, 1080p makes sense. I'm only doing light color grading just to kind of make some of the shadows pop and stuff like that. Nothing crazy.
Sure. Nothing wild.
And typically there's little presets that I use, and it'll make it so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically that way you can kind of get things to look the same. So when you see your video,
mm-hmm.
they know it's you. I mean, obviously your face is on it or whatever.
Yep.
But just makes it simple, and it gets to where you're going to be learning new things every time you make a video, new little presets, new little things to add in, how to, add in PNGs and make them fly around the screen and whatever. But you want to make sure that just getting your setup as easy as you can is going to make you more consistent.
That's right.
Which makes you more likely to stay on top of creating content.
Yep.
Because if all you have to film, put it in, edit it,
click a button and export it,
and then upload it to YouTube to your little SEO stuff, and then make it go live, and you're good. You've got another video on YouTube.
It's much easier, it's much faster, and it makes you much more successful to be continually doing this, learning how to make each one more successful than the last. You'll learn things like, how do I make my SEO better? Mm-hmm. How do I eventually learn to upload and film in 4K? So this is all stuff that I do now. So if you have the pro version of this, you can actually create, see it says custom export. You can go into custom export and you can adjust all these different parameters yourself when you learn about all this. And then you can actually save it as a preset. So this is my YouTube preset. So I have a YouTube preset that's like, it's an H.265 file. It's in 4K. It restricts the quality to 80,000 kilobits per second. It's encoding it a certain way. I've got audio settings. And I have all of this that I've done over the last 2 years. And I have it saved as a preset. I did not start doing it that way.
No.
The first ones that I was doing, I was coming over here to YouTube and I was clicking the YouTube button and going.
I typically still use the YouTube button because
it does a great job.
Yeah, my stuff is me staring into the camera, telling you something you didn't know.
Yep.
I don't know why I'm looking at this like the camera, you can see me, but that's just the goofy guy that I am. But the simpler that you can make this, the more repetitious you can make this.
Yep.
The more often you're going to post, the more successful you'll be, the more likely you will to pick up new things.
Absolutely.
And I think that's paramount.
Absolutely. So you guys can see now over here, this says completed in however long it took it. And if you look right here on my desktop, there is the video file that we just finished putting together. So then this is what I would upload to YouTube. Mm-hmm. And you can create your thumbnails and do all your different things from there. That is how you put together that video file and upload it to YouTube. So, then really, that's like it sounds like a lot of info, but if you just do it one step at a time from left to right, and you just learn what each page does, it's actually very, very straightforward.
Yeah.
It's just unusual because it's different than what you've probably done before.
Yes. And if you go in focusing on just the steps on your first few videos and not try to be too off the wall with your content, just get the first few videos under your belt, cutting them down so there's not a lot of long pauses and and you don't have to be too crazy. Shander thinks that I edit my stuff too much and it's just too quick and cutting, and you may think the same thing, but I just try to make sure, that people are going to watch my content and not get bored because there's 5 seconds between this sentence and the next sentence.
Right.
Sometimes I'll leave in if I'm really thinking about something, just to stress the fact that I'm thinking about something. But a lot of times I just try and move things along. Now, for those of you who may or may not know, once you get monetized, having a video that is 8 minutes or longer, at least currently the way YouTube is set up, 8 minutes or longer, you can put in a mid-roll ad or multiple mid-roll ads, depending on how long your video is.
Right.
So there is something to do with how long your videos are. Sometimes if your video is too short and it thinks you could have made that into a long short, it may not push your video out. There's a little bit of things like that, but that I wouldn't worry too much about that. But definitely something to keep in mind, and when you're making your content, how you're cutting it, just to make I look at it this way: if you wouldn't watch your video, you know what I mean? Like, make your video something that you would want to watch. I guess I'm trying not to be rude about it.
Yeah.
But I think, we all work towards that.
Absolutely.
Place.
Your video is not going to be as good today as the video that you're going to do in a year is going to be, but you can't get to where your video in a year is better without uploading the one today that's not going to be as good when you look back at it. Yeah. You just do it, and then you just learn piece by piece. But one of the things is I've told a number of people about Da Vinci, and the thing that I've had several people say is, "Oh, I don't really get into all of that because that's just too tough." And I understand what they're saying, like why they feel that way, because it does seem like a big undertaking. But if you're putting out content on YouTube, it is worth your time. Your content is quality enough to be deserving of good quality editing to the best of your ability. And I'm not saying be obsessive about it, like, maybe you don't have to nerd out about it the way I do, if that's not something you really enjoy. But put the dedication into making it the best it can be, because you deserve to have good quality content. If you have something to say it and make it look as good as it can. And you just step by step, just get better.
Amy has this thing here. She says it's hard to make cuts with Resolve when there's multi-layers. Well, typically the way we cut things is we have the single layer, the single video clips all in a line, and you can just cut them, and then you can go ahead and stack things later once you've kind of got it to where you want.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So you do what I generally do. I make kind of the main cuts all the way through the video. I go back and add the layers on top of it afterwards, because then I know how much space I have to do things. So I do my base layer, and then I work my way up. And I don't do a lot of deep layers. I'm not doing like 4 layers of stuff like some video creators.
I do that sometimes depending on what I've got on the screen. But
Sure. I do like a main video all the way through, and then I do some pictures and titles on top of it. And maybe if I have a picture and a title, I might end up having 3 layers. But that's about as far as I go. But if you do your main cuts first and then layer on top of it, it's a lot. Again, staying organized. Staying organized is the best way to do it. Lindsay Murphy is here. Says, if you need a mobile editing software, LumaFusion is really effective, more robust than iMovie, and a one-time purchase, $30-ish when I bought it years back, so maybe not that cheap these days. Cool. I don't know if I've heard of LumaFusion.
I don't know. Is that only on iPhone? Do we know?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't heard of that one before. But if you're looking for a mobile version of something, that may be helpful. But again, kind of diving in to, are you really going to the extent of making your content the best it can be? And if you want to do that, give yourself not just what you can use today, but what you can use to level up beyond anything you could ever grow into being. Don't limit yourself by thinking you won't need to eventually have really great stuff. Because if you guys are out there making content, you're awesome people. You're making awesome content. We want to watch it.
Right.
And just step by step, doesn't have to be perfect on day one, but just step by step, try to make it better every time. And just give yourself the option of continuing to grow. Da Vinci will grow with you. Your ability to grow in Da Vinci is going to be just unlimited, because Da Vinci will probably do more than any of us can ever really be able to do.
Yeah.
Because it can do so many things. So that's why we love it so much. All right, let's see.
Cindy's checking on your well-being.
That's right. That's right. And Cindy's here worrying about us, making sure you're okay with your sneezing over there.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's like a 20-degree difference between home and here.
Yes. Let's see here. I'm kind of going through trying to get caught up. Yeah, Amy says, oh, yes, the power bins. I need to start using that for the intros, outros Dustin made for me. By the way, Dustin is great at making intros, outros, and logos for people. Yes, Dustin is fantastic. That's actually something you really enjoy.
I do. I really like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And she also says, I've been having issues rearranging the videos if I need to once I have a lot of them added. It's almost like I have to get it right the first time. Rearranging the videos. Amy, are you talking about like on the media page, like putting them in a different order? Because that would be that sorting thing we were talking about, how you're sorting your videos. So let me know if that's what you were referring to. Janelle was here just stopping in to say hello. Too technical. She has a big mess to clean up, but she was very kind and said, if you're watching, hit the subscribe and like buttons. We would appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribed to KetoSimple over here and myself as well. T. Lewis had the question, is DaVinci on iOS only? No, it is on iOS and Windows both.
Yes.
Yep.
It's on PC, and I think there's a Linux version too, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe there is. Yeah, if you go to the link that I have in my description box, you'll go to their website and you can pick which download you want, whether it's the PC version or Windows, and I think they do have the Linux version.
I was very dumb and I tried to install the iOS version on my PC once. Don't do that. They don't work.
Wild. Let's see. Rick wants to know, what do you use to record videos? Can you add a camera and record in this software? I believe you can, actually. I've never done it. I usually use my phone.
Yeah, I don't know enough about that to know if you can record
inside the software.
I know you can use Resolve and record audio, but I've never done that. I know there's probably have to look and do some searching on YouTube for that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess your logo was covering up the inspector.
Yeah, if we once I shared the full screen, I think it should have fixed that. But if not, I will come back and show you guys where that was. So we'll get caught up on comments and we'll bring it back for you. Let's see.
That's a good question.
This is a great question. Keto Amy says, how do you usually record voiceovers? What do you do?
I have a fancy Rodecaster Pro 2 and a nice microphone that I use to record voiceovers. Mm-hmm. But you could do it with your phone and a lav mic if you have to.
Yep. So what I used to do was I would record it into my phone in the voice memos app, and then I would just send those voice memos over to my computer, and I would pull them in media-wise, just like the pictures, just like the videos. Now, what I actually do, I'll show you guys just for fun, since Amy's asking. This is what I actually do now. Let's put the entire screen back up here for you guys. So this is what I actually do now in DaVinci. I very rarely do voiceovers anymore, but if I'm going to do it in DaVinci, I can go here to the Fairlight page, right? This is our audio page we were telling you guys about. So audio track 2. Let's just say I was going to do it there. You see right here, so this over here is your sliders. This is like your audio mixer where you can control volumes and do different kind of presets and stuff. See right here where it says no input? If I click that and I go down here to input, this is my Yeti stereo microphone that is plugged into my computer right now. So my TV that I use as my computer monitor is muted. I can click my Yeti microphone, and then you hit this little button that says patch, and it now has my microphone set as a patch that I can come here on audio too, and I can record. And you see this little button that says R, arm for record. You click that, and now you can see I'm getting a level.
Yep.
And then all you do is hit this little record button right here, and you can record your voiceover directly in DaVinci.
Very nice.
That's what I do. Because that way I don't have to move it over. I don't have to move it left and right. I can do it little pieces at a time. I just record it all. I've got my microphone in my YouTube cave here just set up, plugged into my computer, and I can just record my voiceovers right on top as I'm watching the video in front of me. So I can speak right along with the video. And then you can go in and you can like cut out blank spots or, you know, all that kind of stuff if you want. The same as
you edit just the same.
Yep,
That
same as
might be-
anything else.
I might try that because I mean everything's already set up for my stuff in my studio.
Yep.
So I mean the roadcaster's already going through the computer.
Mm-hmm.
You could just record right on the roadcaster. Then there's a software that just brings the stuff, you export it over.
Yep.
It might eliminate an extra step for me. But
Absolutely. Since I have this pulled up and you guys are talking about the inspector, let me just pull this down in the middle of the screen so I know it's not covering anything for you. So if I click on a video file, this up here in the right-hand corner is the inspector. If it's not showing it, you just hit the inspector tab right there, and this is your inspector window, and it's got all the different things you can do, zooms, positions, rotations, all kinds of stuff. So that's where that's at. Once you find it, you can just go up there and play around with it, and you'll learn real fast what all those things do. It's pretty straightforward. So okay, so let's come back here, see what else we got. Cranky Carnivore Cutler, 2 hours plus for 15-minute video. You're more than a little bit anal like I am. No, I'm not anal. I'm doing things that most people who are doing video editing use $10,000 and $20,000 supercomputers to do. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to do it with the highest end Apple laptop that you can get. The computer is just not powerful enough to do it faster than that. Because I'm doing, honestly, and not saying any of you are going to want to get into doing it this way, I do extremely advanced color grading and video editing stuff. Like, I'm not at the level of like a Hollywood video editor and color grade guy, but the people who do the things that I do, we're talking probably $5,000 to $10,000 to do a video like I just did for Ash. Like, I mean, I have spent thousands of hours learning to do what it is I do because I just enjoy it, and I'm just kind of obsessive about, you know, being able to do these things and these skill sets. But it's also why I can do Ash's music videos, and like I can do these at what I think is broadcast quality level. So it's really big video files. That's why it's taking the computer so long to do them. So now, as far as editing time, I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, taking time to edit a video, we're talking 5 to 10 hours usually, minimum.
For me, most of my videos are usually about an hour and a half. But mine are usually pretty straightforward. Just depends on how much on-screen information needs to go on after I'm done. Mm-hmm. If I'm putting up images or text, explanations, because I'll put up ingredient lists or, all kinds of things. Just depends on how much back-end stuff I have to do. But typically it's not too long.
Right. Jerry is here, says, well, I'm late. It's almost 2 p.m. in Wisconsin, and I wound back to start listening first. Then we'll look later to see the full podcast. Well, thank you for joining, Jerry. We appreciate you. Sherry wants to know what we're eating. Well, I have carnivore crackers for a carnivore charcuterie we can snack on. And I think here, actually shortly, we're probably going to go ahead and throw Dustin in the car. We're going to take him to our favorite barbecue place. We're going to have some Nashville-style barbecue.
He fed me last night. I'm not going to tell you what, but he fed me last night.
That video will be coming out Saturday.
You'll see that video coming soon.
Are you hungry yet today? You still full from last night?
My belly's been gurgling a little bit. But he fed me really good last night.
We had a good time. Amy says, talking about on the edit page, like if I found I added something out of order, but mine are mostly cooking too, so I will sort them. Oh, okay. So you're trying to reorder things on the edit page. Let me show you what I do, because this made me struggle a long time. Amy, I'm gonna fix your life right here for you. You're gonna be so happy. Watch this. So let me put the screen back up here. Okay. So we're gonna go into DaVinci. So I'm going to zoom out from my timeline on the edit page here just so you can kind of see. Okay, so let's say I have 3 video clips here. 1, 2, 3. Let's say this first video clip is supposed to be over here where the third video clip is, and so on, right? Watch this. I'm going to link my video so that way the audio follows it. I don't have to, do extra steps. So you're just going to come here and link. I'm going to click this video that needs to be moved. I'm going to hit on my computer. Mine is the Option key. Depending on whether you're using Mac or Windows, it may look different on what kind of keyboard you have, but it's the Option key. Okay? I'm going to hold down the Option key, and I'm going to hit the up arrow. That moves it up to another track without changing where it is. Okay? Then I'm going to grab these two videos. I'm just going to use, this is called a lasso. When you click and drag and it creates this box that can select multiple things. I'm going to create a lasso, move these over, and then I'm going to click this one, move it over, and drop it in.
And you don't even need to do the keyboard control. You can just use your mouse to pull it up and over.
Yeah, you can also do that to move it up and over. I tend to use the Option key myself because I don't often. So I have this little magnet thing right here clicked, right? I have that little magnet thing there clicked, which means that it's called snapping. And so it's like if you're moving this, it kind of, as you get close, it goes snap, and it shows you the line that it's all lined up. I tend to edit without that a lot. And so because I'm doing keyboard shortcut stuff all the time, I tend to like do this kind of thing. And then I'm doing this to where it like kind of overlaps and does all those weird things.
J-cuts.
And they're called J-cuts and all these different kinds of things. But Dustin is absolutely right. If you have this linked, like I do here with the chain link, you can grab the video and you can just move it up, move it out of the way. And then you can grab these and move them over. See, and that's where that snapping thing is really easy, so I can get it to just seat right exactly where it goes. And then you can move this one back, and you can just reorder them.
Yep.
However you need to. Just zoom out far enough so you can see all the clips you're trying to work with, and it gets super easy.
And there's probably a keyboard shortcut to move them over without moving them over.
Yep, I'm sure there probably is.
I'm sure that Daniel Patel probably has something like that for you on
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then Amy says how to use Resolve to record audio like to do voiceovers. I think we answered that.
Yep.
She says, I would like to do voiceovers for my videos. Much appreciated. Perfect. Rick says his camera does not have an audio in, so he wants software he can record directly to PC. That makes sense. Yeah. And Amy makes a good point. OBS Studios would be a great way to do that because I've used OBS Studios to record before. Amy says that's exactly what I was struggling with. Thank you. Awesome. Guys, do you have any other questions before we let you go and go eat barbecue today? Because Dustin and I are happy to help you guys out. But I think that is kind of a good overview of the majority of like just the big ticket things you're going to need to do starting out. Mm-hmm. So if you guys have any questions, let us know before we sign off today. Was there any other stuff on DaVinci that you think is really helpful for you that we didn't talk about from a beginner standpoint?
I think maybe if they want to learn how to make shorts, let us know. We can show them how to take a video that's already kind of set up and then turn that into a short.
Yep.
And I think that would be another little video we could do to help them out, or a little live we could do.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, obviously, shorts are kind of a controversial in a lot of spaces, but I think they're necessary. If you're growing a channel, you need some lives, you need some shorts, you need some full-length content. I think you need like a mix of all of those to pull in the right number of audience members on each side of it. So we can definitely help you out with that.
Yep.
I think this is a good comprehensive kind of beginning of the beginning run of how to do this.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not going to feel confident doing this until you just open the program and start doing it a couple of times, but you get confident doing it very quickly once you know where these things are. And so that's why Dustin and I wanted to do this. Like, so you can look at this video, know where these basic things are, what pages are, and what you do on those pages. And then it's just a matter of getting in and playing with it.
Yeah.
And you know, what I would suggest is maybe record a video you don't really care that much about.
Yeah.
Start a project, go in and just play with it and just see what you can make it do. because worst case scenario, you can close it and not save that project, and you can just start a brand new project again. Like, you're not going to mess anything up with DaVinci. Like, you can just open it and start it again. So if you're not confident with it, just play with it. And
YouTube being one of the best search engines there are, you could, if you're having an issue, just start searching issue, DaVinci Resolve, PC, Mac, whatever.
Yep, absolutely. Well, cool, guys. I have all of those links, excuse me, in the description box of those channels that Dustin and I really like. If you want to dive into some of this stuff, like, go just scroll on those channels. If you have questions specifically for us that we can, like, dive into specific things for you, we're happy to if we can. And you can kind of go from there. So just let us know what we can do to help you guys, and, you know, go back over this and, like, look at each individual page, pause it, go on your computer, play with that page, come back, watch, use it as a tool to just work through those pages. Because once you do it once, maybe twice, just to kind of remember it. Yeah. I think once you do it once or twice, you just kind of know immediately where to go. And then you just start adding new layers and new tips and tricks. I mean, that's what we do.
Yep.
We've learned the basics, and now every time we open it up, it's like, oh, there's a keyboard shortcut that makes that easier. And
I've learned them all the time.
Piece by piece, you just learn about it. And there's places in DaVinci Resolve you can learn what all the shortcuts are, and you can actually customize the way the keyboard works. Like, there's 100 ways to make this work better for you. And you learn all of that just by doing it in time. And you'll be good to go. Cool. Well, guys, I think that's about all we can do. I think that's as much damage as we can cause today.
I think that's a good place to stop.
I think that's a good place to stop. And I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to some barbecue.
Yeah. Those crackers, man. Oh, man.
He got to taste one of them as they were coming out of the dehydrator yesterday. So a whole bunch of
it's unreal.
Yeah, a whole bunch of other good stuff too. So, all right. Looks like we got some people asking for shorts tutorials. So maybe we can collaborate on a across the internet kind of basis and do something for you guys, and we'll put a little something together, and we'll kind of see what we can do. So Craig Carnivore Cutler says, thanks guys, is more than beneficial to me in less than 2 hours than days of watching YouTube tutorials on DaVinci Resolve a few years ago. Well, you are very welcome. That's kind of why we wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of research to try to learn this on your own. And the guys that teach this are so good at it that I think sometimes they take for granted that everyone just knows how to do certain steps.
Right.
But then it takes you 5 hours to figure out what they just did. So that's why Daniel Batal is so cool, because his whole DaVinci Resolve for noobs is like, you go here, click this thing, go here, click this thing, look what it does, and it's that simple. It's
and I think the idea of growing the short length from, like, sub 60 seconds to just under 3 minutes, that's one of the things I think a lot of people don't understand about shorts. Is they don't all have to be super viral. They can be very informative, and then they can become evergreen.
Yeah.
So he's found a way, and it's something that we could take a lesson from. Obviously, we're not making the same content as him, but we're looking at shorts to make them evergreen, which means they're going to be relevant for a very long time on YouTube.
Absolutely. Well, cool. All right, guys. Well, if you have any additional info that you would like, or specific things you would like to see us talk about, let us know. Julie says this is so cool seeing the two of us together.
It's kind of surreal.
Yeah, it's a little wild. So
I'm seeing me with the background. You know what I mean? It's
I know.
I'm used to me seeing me with my own background.
That's right. So, cool. Yeah, Brian says, like all the software, the more you use it, the more shortcuts you learn. So there we go. Well, very cool, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. We both appreciate your support so much, because we cannot do what we do without all of you. Make sure you are subscribed to KetoSimple. He is linked in my description box. If you're not subscribed to me, my name is Chris Cooking Nashville. Make sure you subscribe here as well. And we just appreciate all of you. We're going to be having some fun tonight at the Q&A, and we'll be hopefully giving you maybe some updates on things over the next few days as we kind of wrap everything up.
There we go.
Okay. I have no idea why it said my mic was unplugged, but hey, we're going to get out of here before we get more technological issues going on. So, guys, thank you for being here. We love all of you. This is Chris Cook in Nashville and Dustin from KetoSimple. Guys, eat your meat. Maybe go edit your videos in DaVinci. Love your life. We'll see you on various places on the internet for maybe some more editing videos and a whole bunch more keto and carnivore fun real soon.
Love you guys.
Bye, guys.